Welcome to Nubian Queen Talk. I am your host, Queen Yolanda Mitchell. We have a phenomenal, beautiful guest that's on tonight for us. Y'all are just going to absolutely love this powerful woman of God. I absolutely love her. And I'm here to introduce her to you all. So for some of you all that are looking for somebody that is doing some great things, that is out here to help you, want to be a great blessing to you tonight, this video, this show here, it is just for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and read her bio real quick, and then I'm gonna bring her on. Okay, so Tenita Bestseller Johnson, transforming pain into purpose, is a gift that entrepreneur, speaker, and book coach Tenita Bookseller Johnson gives to everyone she encounters. She is a warrior of words with a fierce passion for guiding authors to expand their brand by showing them how to earn multiple streams of income from just one book. As the author of 18 books, seven of which have been Amazon bestsellers, she is living proof that sharing your story leads to your destiny. Familiar with rising from numerous fires and coming out of unscathed, Tenita has triumphed over suicidal thoughts, depression, low self esteem, marital storms, and blended family woes. She has also endured miscarriages and stillbirth of twins the day after she married her husband. Each of these tragedies has added indelible layers of her resilience. With more than 25 years of journalism, writing, and editing, she has a knack for creating narratives that are authentic and raw, yet endearingly relatable. She is a vessel with the ability to change lives and impact the world. Thus, she is a proud book bully who is relentlessly urges others to write the book and get paid for the pain. When Tenita speaks, people listen with their ears as well as their heart and soul because her transparency transcends pretense. She is a bold beacon of hope who inspires others to seek their highest peak. One of her proudest and defining moments was her appearance on Kirk Franklin's Praise Sirius XM channel as the founder of the CEO of So It Is Written Publishing. She has also helped hundreds of authors birth their books in record time. The 12-year-old company excels as a one-stop shop for the complete book process for conception to completion. Not just editing, the editorial guru successfully helps people to open to people books that will boost their brands, accelerate their play, accept their paydays, and bust open doors of endless opportunities. So it is written, won the Sunrise Pinnacle Award for Diversity's Companies of the Year in 2020 from Rochester Regional Chambers of Commerce in Rochester, Michigan. For 6 years, Tanita hosts the Red Ink Conference in Atlanta, Detroit, Charlotte, and Chicago. Over 600 attendees received invaluable information from industry leaders on how to write, edit, market, and publish their next bestseller. Beyond her books, her versatility shines in multiple areas, including her role as executive producer of the hit play stage When the Smoke Clears, which was based on her book, When the Smoke Clears, A Phoenix Rises. The play ran in 2017 and 2018 to sold out audience in Detroit. Come on. She also served as the editorial director for Career Master Magazine and Hope for Women Magazine. Currently, she is the national president of the Aspiring Writers Association of America, a writers organization that works with the writers worldwide to pen their next literacy masterpiece. Tanita's passion for delivering books is matched only by her devotion to helping women and men heal from the drama, trauma, baggage of sexual abuse. Her 2022 anthology, Hush, begin breaking the cycle of silence around sexual abuse, features 8 women with lost who lost their innocence and identity to life altering trauma. She is a huge advocate and mouthpiece for those who have been sexually abused as she empowers them to release their pain instead of suffering in silence. Her future plans include the release of Hush 2, producing her short film, What Happens in This House, and completing the script for her future film, When the Smoke Clears. As a catalyst for a positive change, she is a woman who has earned the life and international life of purpose while unapologetically fulfilling her God given assignment. For a book or speaking engagement, email her at info@soitiswritten.net or visit www.tenitajohnson.com. We're getting ready to bring this beautiful woman forth, getting ready to let you know all about this woman who has really done some great things. If you are ready, stay tuned because she is here to come. Hello, beautiful. How
Hey,
are you?
hi. Thank you so much
Glad
for
to
having
have
me. I'm
you.
excited.
I am so excited. Listen, your bio is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
I was reading this. Listen, when we talked about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, you gave that thing a new twist. So I absolutely love it. And
Yeah, listen, we're not just writing books. We becoming entrepreneurs through these books. So I call it entrepreneurs. Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
that's what I was getting at. So I'm glad you really clarified that thing. So when you
Yes.
talked about when y'all read up in about the book Bully, can you give us some details about the book Bully?
So the book bully came out of actually people following me on social media, and then
Hmm.
people laugh and they joke and they say, if you are her friend, if you walk with her personally day by day and you think I don't have a book to write, she will find a book for you to write. So
Come
if
on.
you stick close enough to me over time, you will write at least one book, if not
Come
12.
on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about because we need some people that will get it, and they will package it. Because I know you were saying something about getting paid for your
You
pain.
pay for the
That
pain.
that is that listen, that's on
Yeah.
a whole nother level when you're talking about people that have been through some trauma. So you mean to tell me you can take my pain, the things that I have endured in life, package it up in a beautiful book that's not only going to cause me to be an author, but I get paid very well for my pain and
Very well.
become a business owner, like a entrepreneur. You mean to tell me I can take it to that next level?
Yes, ma'am. And I tell people it's not just about the book. The book is a gateway to something that God is always trying to get things to us. He's not trying to get
Right.
anything from us. So
Right.
a lot of times people are like, I don't want to write this book. It's my business. I don't want people to know my business. And I tell people
Right.
it's all God's business.
Right.
None of it is our business. Um,
Mm.
and how can he get the glory if we won't tell anybody the story?
Woo.
Yeah.
And we won't even open up
We
and
won't
talk
even
about.
open our mouths.
Okay, just like I was talking to you before, and you were telling me about, it's one thing to write a book, but when you listen to me before I even get started with the book and writing and everything, and if I tell you a story, you can tell me exactly what story that you say that right there. That's going to help you become bestseller,
Yes.
and that's going to sell books. And so
Yes.
with that, so when somebody come to you, they may have some things. How do they start out when they tell you when they come to you? Let's say if my first time coming to you, and I'm just talking, I just want to write a book.
Hmm.
And what would be some of the things that you would ask me, to help me start with writing a bestseller book?
Yeah. So the first thing I ask people is why you? What's different about your story?
Okay.
Particularly when they come to me and they want to write something about their life story. So I ask them, okay, what's unique about your story that no other book is going to have in it? Number two,
Wow.
I tell people don't pay for products and services. They pay for solutions. So
Ooh.
what solution is your book going to give me? So if I'm battling with depression and you can tell me how you overcame depression, now you solve a problem for me. Now this book is not only a book, it's transforming lives.
Right.
So I tell people, you're not writing a book just to write a book. You're writing a book because you want to transform lives through the words that are on the pages.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing I ask people is, who is the book for? Because here's what happens. A lot of people will say, well, my book, it could be for men, it could be for women, it's for the Christians, it's for the non-Christians, it could be for a lot of people. But when you think about the ideal reader and the ideal problem that you solve, there's a specific type of person that you need to have in mind when you're writing, because they're going to incline their ear to hear only you because you know your target market.
My God. And then from knowing your audience, you will know the things that you definitely need to be writing and put it inside of your book. That,
Correct.
so you just don't be just throwing anything out there, because
Yeah.
it's like, it's like if you're it's okay. For instance, if you're dealing with someone who has dealt with um molestation,
Yes.
and and you're writing your book, you're not going to be off just talking about, well, it happened. You're going to maybe go into some details and tell how it affected
Yes.
you, how, how you overcame it. But at the same time, when it happened, how did it make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you went through? So because you want to be relatable, because you want
Yes.
to be able to, go into details and say, this is how I felt. It
Yeah.
affected me in my marriage. It affected me in other relationships and things like
Yes.
that. So
Yeah,
so
and
that's
you have to be able to listen. This is what I tell my clients. I tell them people do business with those they know, like, and trust. And so if you're
right.
not going to be vulnerable in your book, even if it's a
Oh God.
self-help nonfiction book, I don't want a book from you, because if you're just giving me principles, but you're not telling me that you've practiced the principles or you've proven this to be true in your life, then why should I take your word for it? So I got to know you. If I don't know you, you might come through a referral. So I'm going to trust the person that I know who referred you. But I need to know you, like you, and trust you before I spend my money with you.
Come on. Let me
Yeah.
ask you, what was your defining moment when you decided this? I want to be the book bully. What I mean, you know what I'm saying? I know you done wrote some books and all that stuff, but what happened that gave you, first of all, gave you that title, and what made you want to go into this field?
So I've always been in traditional journalism. So writing articles, writing for newspapers, writing for magazine. I thought that would be my path. Of course, God
Mm,
had a much bigger scale
right,
and a much different plan. But
right.
it's one of those things where when I realized that I was getting my biggest level of breakthrough from books, literally, I learned how to forgive from a book. I healed
Oh,
from sexual abuse from a book. I learned how to
my,
manage my money better from a book. So
right.
when I realized this is transforming my life, like nobody's speaking to me, nobody's talking to me. I'm sitting in a room by myself reading this book. I'm reading Viola Davis's book now, and I'm like, wow. Like, just to see where she came from to where
Right.
she is today, it's like, yeah, just keep going, just keep living. And so
Mm,
it's so very transformational. Words have power, and words don't just
right.
have power when they're spoken out loud. Words have power from the pages too. And so
Come
I said,
on.
I gotta, if I can just get people to write one book. And I say that everybody has at least two books. So your life story book, and usually it's not a life story book, it's some form of memoir where you've been through something or you've overcome something and you want to talk about that. So if, for example, if someone was diagnosed with cancer, they want to talk about from the time they were diagnosed to cancer, how it affected their family, friends, career, all of that, all the way to
Yes.
point of healing. So you're not going to talk about your whole life from when you were an infant as a baby all the way up to 67 years old. Nobody wants to read that story. I want to read
Right.
the story of what you've been through and what you've overcome. The other thing I tell people is you need to write a book about what you're an expert in. We're all an expert in something. We're all
Right.
we are all problem solvers. It's just up to you to figure out what problem you solve best.
Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me, because I have overcome a certain thing, like in being molested, or a divorce, I'm like an expert because now I can tell my story because I've overcame that, and I can really tell
Absolutely.
you all my. So you
Absolutely.
so when somebody say, well, I'm an expert, it doesn't mean that you necessarily went to college or something like that.
Correct.
You can say, honey, you're an expert. If you don't been through a divorce,
Mm-hmm.
it did you a certain way. Now you've overcome it. You're looking at that divorce like one of the best things that ever happened to you.
Yes.
You're happy and excited that it happened. You're grateful, but when it happened and it didn't feel good. You didn't like it. But look at where you are now.
Yeah.
And when you can
Yeah.
tell that story, so okay, I do have this other question. So when people are writing a book, do you suggest that they be in their place of healing? I've been healed, or should they write it while they're still yet going through the process?
So what I tell people is you want to be careful not to bleed on the pages. And you may
God.
have, yeah, you may have heard this more so in the church realm where people say sometimes the pastors are bleeding on the sheep. So
Got you.
whatever, yeah, whatever the area of brokenness is, and he's
Ah,
not necessarily healed from that. When he preaches or teaches, it's always on that one subject because he's bitter
right.
about it. So you have to be careful that you are writing from a place of healing. Otherwise, it's just journal notes. I tell people, write it in your journal, talk to Jesus about it. But again, it has to solve a
Mm.
problem for somebody else. So a lot of people come to me and say, but my story is great. But where's the victory in your story? And what's in it for me? So
Woo!
you really have to answer the question, what's in it for the reader? Because I'm not paying $14.95, $25.95 for any book that does not speak to me. I understand it's your story, but it needs to speak to me.
You
Yeah.
you gonna have to teach a class.
Come on.
You
I'll
gonna
come to Florida gladly.
I'm trying to tell you, you're gonna have to teach a class because it is so many women, so many men that are out here that have stories to tell, and they
Yes.
don't tell it because they don't have the connections. They don't know
Yes.
where to begin.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to call the title. They don't know that okay, you can't just write the book and and don't and not
Right. And
heal.
throw it up
You
on
know,
Amazon. That's not enough. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah,
And honestly, a lot of people don't write it either because of shame,
right.
because of what other people will think. All of the things. It
Oh,
all it all boils down to fear.
right.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this: do you think that when you're writing a book, do you think that that's also therapeutic when you are writing and
Oh,
getting it out?
so very therapeutic. So I was actually talking to a colleague in Chicago today. We're gonna get together and do this workshop that I do. It's called From Trauma to Triumph, and it's gonna be writing for the healing, healing through writing. And so we're going to take them through a series of writing exercises and walk them through their healing over the weekend. So yeah, I definitely know that it's therapeutic. It's proven therapeutic for me. And people ask me all the time, do you go back and read your books? I'm like, no, I lived it. I don't go back and rehash it, but they're like, well, you were talking about on page 78. And I'm like, I don't remember what I said, but but again, you have to, it's like leave everything on the page. Like if you ever
Right,
go to theater and you have ever acted, they tell you leave it all on the stage. Don't
right.
take anything home. You need to give it all, give it 120%. It's the same way in a book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some. I got to ask you this. Now you have helped so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Can you have? Did you stop counting of the
I
count of
stopped
the people
counting.
that you get? Because I
I
know
stopped
I know
counting.
you have helped so many people become bestseller, and they have.
Hundreds.
I mean, like, and
Yeah. And
I'm
it's not even for me, it's not even so much about helping them get on a bestseller list or get bestseller status or Amazon bestseller status. Like if that's what my clients want, I can definitely help them get it. But I
right.
always but I always ask them, okay, after you get that, then what?
Then
Because
what?
yeah, because there has to be something bigger.
It
There
helps.
has to be a
Right.
greater impact than just saying
Come
I'm on a
on.
bestseller list or I'm on Amazon bestseller. And it's like, okay, yay.
Okay,
Now
you got
what?
that, and it's gone. Right.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. So I tell them, don't chase, we're not chasing fame and fortune and all the list and the notoriety. And all. I would rather a sister or a brother come to me and say, I read your book and it changed my life.
Come on.
That to me that's priceless. That's more than any
Right.
bestseller list can do for me. Yeah.
Right. That's listen. That is phenomenal. And I'll ask you this. So with all the entrepreneurs that's out there, entrepreneurs, what
Hmm.
makes you stand out? What would make somebody want to come to you and say, "Hey, I would like for you to coach me"? What would you say?
So I think the biggest thing that sets me apart is the Lord has given me an ability to not just see books, but to see 7 to 12 streams of income tied to one book.
Come on.
Yeah. So my book, When the Smoke Clears, was an ebook, the paperback book. We've done the stage production in 2017 and 2018. Now we're working on the script for the film. It'll probably be a conference. So I mean, when I tell people 7 to 12, I'm not just talking outside of my neck, literally
Listen,
7 to 12 streams. Yeah.
listen. So I think you just talked about like four or five of them. You talking about the book. You talking about we
The
talking about the
ebook,
Kindle version. We're
mhm,
talking about
the
um the
stage play.
the stage play. We're talking
Mhm.
about a movie. We're talking about conferences. You
Yes.
know, so that's five right there.
Yeah. And
Opportunities
then a
just for
lot of
writing the
people,
book.
yeah, and then a lot of people don't look at it as what I teach people to do is taking your book by chapter and then creating webinars based on each chapter. So if you do
Oh,
a series of webinars, so if you have 12 chapters, do a series of 12 webinars and sell it for $4.97, and you on Zoom for 12 weeks teaching the content that you already have.
where's the mic? Where's the mic? I don't have a mic. I'm about to drop them. I'm about to
Yeah,
drop the mic and pick it back up again.
yeah, yeah.
My God.
Yeah. So
You
when people come to me and they say, well, I'm broke and I don't have the money to get my book done and I don't have you gotta see it more than just a book or a piece of paper. It's so much more than that. And really it's a blueprint to so many other bigger things. Once you have a book, you have a blueprint that you can repurpose into something else.
wow. You
Yeah.
are absolutely you are absolutely you're gonna help some people. And they're
I
gonna be
hope
wanting
so.
to they're gonna come after you. And they're gonna be like, listen, who is that woman? The
Let's
book
do
guru,
it.
that can teach me how to. Okay, we were talking about you was on Kirk Franklin. I was trying to find it again on
Oh,
Kirk
Kirk
Franklin.
Franklin's praise.
Yes.
Mhm.
So how was that? How was that? How did that happen? How did that connect? How do you get that
So
connection?
So there is a segment called The Good Book that
Uh-huh.
I think comes on Monday night or Tuesday night. And so when Hush came out, they what they do is they read the title, they read the subtitle, and they read the synopsis. Now they will not give your website and promotional information because of course that's like free advertisement. But
Right.
they did recommend the book and it was on Sirius XM's Twitter page and all of that. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
the reason Hush is so significant is because in the first book it was all women, but Hush 2 is actually 3 African American males and 4 African American women talking about overcoming sexual abuse. Now, if you can get black men to talk about overcoming sexual abuse, you know it's God.
Ooh. Good God Almighty!
You
I'm
know it's
telling
God.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you compiled like what was that? Three women and three
The
men.
anthology. Yep. It's
My
4
God.
women, 3 men. Mm-hmm.
And they got in together and they just really just was authentic, just open, just telling their
Yeah.
story. My
Sharing their
God,
story, but also sharing how they overcame it. Because
how they
overcoming
overcame.
for
Right.
us, right? Overcoming for women looks totally different than it does for men.
Good God Almighty.
Yeah,
They better get that book. Hush.
you better get it.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
Hush
It's
one
a
and two.
right because I
It's
seen that.
part 1 and 2. Yeah.
Do you happen to have that in you have it in it's on Amazon.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Kindle version for all of my books is on Amazon if they want the
Right.
ebook.
Okay.
The physical books they have to go to the website.
Right. Good. That's
Mhm.
good. That's good. And let me ask you this: Is there a is do you have like one in Audible? Do you have it in Audible?
So the only one I have in Audible is my very first book, 100 Words of Encouragement, and I have it on.
What?
It's actually on CD Baby, so people can download it if they go to cdbaby.com and look up 100 Words of Encouragement.
Come on
Yeah.
now. Okay, so we have Hush. We have Hush 1 and 2. We
Yes.
have What Happens in This House. We have When the Smoke
When the
Clears.
smoke clears, yes.
Okay. What is and those are your main ones. So you got but you got not only do you have these. Wait a minute. So you have 3 books.
No, 20 plus. So Marriage Uncut, which is a series, Marriage Uncut 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I mean, from fatherless to fearless, which talks about being a fatherless daughter. Yeah, it's so many. And
Listen.
100 words of encouragement. The very first book was written in 2010, but there's a 100 words of encouragement part 2 as well.
So
Yeah, it's over. It's like I think I'm at 22 or 23. I stopped counting. I just write.
You just
I just write. I just
so
keep
okay,
writing. Like,
but the main ones that you have here are the
yes,
ones like with Hush. Those are the ones that you're saying I'm gonna take it to the next.
correct, correct.
Okay, good.
So when the smoke clears, and then Hush One and Hush Two, but the script for the short film is called What Happens in This House, but it's based off
Right.
Hush. Mm-hmm.
Good God Almighty,
Yeah.
my God. So we should be looking. We should be looking forward to what happens in the house coming out.
Yeah, so my goal is to shoot it soon and have it available, do a red carpet release and all that in the spring.
I'm done. I'm done. This thing. I mean, because you're absolute. I mean, I think you're phenomenal, and
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to what happens in the house and Hush. I mean, just
Yeah.
all of it. Now, give us some details about when the smoke clears, because that sounds like something right there too. Now,
So the book, When the Smoke Clears, the subtitle is A Phoenix Rises. And if you know anything about a phoenix is a bird that is only birthed through fire. And yeah. And so the book talks about overcoming suicidal thoughts, depression, blended family woes. We've lost children. We've separated. We said we were going to divorce, all the things, financial woes, all things. But in the end, it's those very fires that shape me into the person I am today. So that's why it's called When the Smoke Clears, a Phoenix Rises out of the ashes. Yeah, out of the ashes.
so I know we didn't go into all of the beautiful things that you
Mm-hmm.
went through, but can you tell us give us some of the background history of how you become the beautiful book bully that you are today?
Yeah. So a lot of it is, it's my own experience and just making a decision. I got to get paid for this pain and I got to get it out of me. And I can't be the only person going through this.
Right.
So I started out simply writing articles for like $50 an article, $75 an article. Then I got into books, and then I started helping other people get into books. And now I've totally stepped away from magazine. I've totally stepped away from newspaper. I have offers to work for other magazines and newspapers and blogs, and it just becomes too much. I'm solely focused on books right now because I know that once you have a book in hand, you can repurpose that content to do so much more than you can with an
Wow.
article. Yeah.
Right. My God. So we know when we were talking, we talked about some of the trauma and the things
Yes,
that you went through. So let's talk of this. Can you share with some of those things that you went through?
for sure. So me and my husband, we were married when I think I was 24, and at the time I was pregnant with twins.
Mm-hmm.
Day after we married, we're in the hospital. We're in the ER, losing twins. So imagine saying, I do, you dancing, you hustling, you eating all the great food. 24 hours later, hospital. No honeymoon, no nothing. Sexually abused by both men and women, a female cousin, and then a male hairdresser, all before the age of 15. Highly suicidal ideations as a teenager, depression, just identity crisis. Didn't really know who I was,
Right.
didn't like who I was, didn't like my skin tone.
Mm.
We came up in the era in the 70s and 80s where it was bad to be a dark skinned girl.
Yes.
We were taught dark was bad. The light skinned girls were the ones who were good. So all the things. Yeah, all
Ah.
the things.
And then you bottled all of that up because that's
Oh yeah, I'm like God, take it all. I'm not holding anything back. Like
nothing.
I and I tell people my life is an open book, and they like you're
Right.
too transparent. I'm like I
Okay.
don't care because
I don't
when I
care.
go to the grave, you won't be able to say, "Oh, we didn't know."
Okay.
It's
Right.
in the book. It's in the
It's in the
book.
book. Right.
Yeah, read
And
the
I'm just
book.
and it's okay because a lot of times, when things happen, you know, you say, well, I won't call any names out, but I'm gonna let you know because a lot of stuff happened to us and it
Yes.
be in the family,
Oh, more times
and
than not, it's in the
you know what I'm
family.
saying? It's
We
in the
want it to be
family.
a stranger, but it's in the family. Yeah.
Right, it's in the family. Family, friends of the family, things that but be somebody that's close. And so
Yeah.
that's what happens. But I was thinking, what happens in the house, because we were told, what
We were
happens in the
told what
house
happens
stays
in
in
this
the
house
house,
stays in this house.
stays in the house. and that's where all the trauma, the pain, and they wonder, why do you dislike your mom, and why you dislike your
Mhm.
dad or stepdad or brother, sister, cousin, and why do you act out, and why do
Yeah.
you go off, and and it's just like you have no idea what
Yeah.
the
And so
pain is. And
my tagline for the film that we're working on now is what happens in this house stays in this house, dot, 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 until the whole house is on fire. The whole house is on fire. Y'all, we not okay. We not doing
we're
okay
not
because y'all been
okay.
holding secrets for decades. We are not
What?
okay.
And
Yeah.
then the same one that y'all protecting bothered me,
Yep.
bothered them, and bothered, you know what I'm saying? And they just started doing it. And you know what happens when they don't talk about it and they don't heal
Right.
from it? The very thing that happened to them, guess what they're doing? They
Pass
duplicating
to
it.
their
They're
children.
doing that,
Hmm.
and then if not, and then for some of us to have molested, we decide we will never do that to someone else. We become overprotective. Oh, you can't
Yes.
sit at this person's house. I don't care who it is. And if I
Yeah.
can't see you, we become overprotective, and our kids just hate us to life.
But
Because
what's so crazy about that is my grandmother was that grandmother. She was like, you can't go over your aunt's house, you can't go over your cousin's house, you can't go.
right,
But you brought the predator to our house. So I didn't have to leave the house to be abused.
right,
You brought the trauma to the
right.
house. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
and I know that she knew. I know that just tears her apart because we, as a parent, we're supposed to be the protector of our
Right.
children, and
Right.
then we're thinking that I'm bringing you in, you should be okay,
Right.
and then to find out that you were not okay with them, and that
Not okay.
I let them keep you and babysit you, and I didn't know all this was happening to you. Like, I know that that would
Yeah.
just break our heart,
Yeah.
but things like that do happen. But
Yeah.
look at the beautiful side of it. Look at what came out of it.
Oh
And look
yeah.
at where
Yeah.
you are now. So instead of that stuff defeating you, you say, not only am I defeated and overcoming it, I'm not the bully. Now
Yeah.
we're talking about, instead of us holding that story in, yeah, we're gonna, not only we're gonna tear this thing down, we're gonna overcome it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna terrify it.
Yeah,
For every person that you do.
shine a light on those
Right.
dark places that want to
Come
stay in the
on.
dark and torment you and torment it. Tell it every chance you
Right.
get. Yeah,
Yeah.
tell it every chance you get. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. So we're gonna share some light. We're gonna come up out of this thing. My
yeah,
God, I absolutely love it. This has been a wonderful interview. Tell us, let's do this before we let you go. Give us some encouraging words. But what would you say to somebody who wants to be an author, and you want to give them some encouraging words? What would you say to them?
yeah. I would definitely say, number one, get paid for the pain. You went through the pain,
Mm,
you survived it, you
you
overcame
survive.
it. You might
Right.
as well get paid and pay
Right.
well to go,
Right.
to get paid
Might
for
as
the
well
pain.
get
Um,
paid.
And I tell people are under the pretense. I'm trying to debunk all of the things that we have said over the years. Like, I don't want people to know my business.
Right.
None of it is our business. We're all God's children. So it's all God's business. And if you don't,
Right.
if you don't tell the story, how can God get the glory? If you stay silent, how does he get the glory out of you staying silent? Good, bad,
Right.
and different. How your family members feel about it, how your friends feel about it. So I'll give you this last analogy before we close. You know, when you're on a plane and the stewardess is telling you, well, I don't even know if they do the stewardess now. I think Delta got the video. You don't even see anybody in the aisle, but they tell you, should the air pressure change, should the atmospheric pressure change, and you need oxygen, the mask, they're going to fall.
Right.
The masks are going to fall. And they tell you, put the mask on you first before you try
Right.
and help somebody else. But for
Right.
so many years, we've been putting the mask on everybody else but us. And it's like, put the mask on you first so you can breathe and live and really get free before you try and help and pour into anybody else. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you that.
Bring me to Florida, girl. We'll do a whole
Okay.
workshop.
I'm listening. You sound like a therapist as well as a entrepreneur. Like, it is. I mean, this is so therapeutic. I mean, just listening to. I know this is going to be a blessing to those
Yeah.
who are listening. tell us, how can we reach you? Because, we need to be getting our books out there.
Yes, so they can email me at info@soitiswritten.net, and they can find out more about the company at www.soitiswritten.net. If they want to book me personally and they want to know more information about my personal book projects, TenitaJohnson.com.
Well, there you have it,
Yeah.
kings and queens. The book bully. Y'all, she is the one to go to. Thank you so much, beautiful, for your time and your patience. I appreciate you. Thank you, and
Thank you.
peace and blessings.